Hello, I'm Christian Fraser, and this is The Context.
Hezbollah, backed by Iran, fired here an Iranian missile that took the lives of 12 pure souls, 12 children that were playing soccer here, and unfortunately couldn't make it to the bomb shelter. Our heart is torn by the heavy disaster.
He is an unwelcome person in our place. He is a liar and corrupt. He is coming to use the bodies of our children to be on TV. We will not allow this to happen.
If they go against Lebanon, it's going to be a big war, and they know that. And I don't think they want to do it.
I'm appealing to all Germans who are still in Lebanon now to use the still available possibilities to leave Lebanon and to urgently do so now.
More on the tensions in the Middle East to come, but first the latest BBC headlines. 2 children have died and 9 others were injured in a knife attack at a dance workshop in Southport. Merseyside police said 6 of the children and 2 adults who were also injured are in a critical condition. A 17-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of murder. The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, says she is cutting 2 major road projects and is reviewing the last government's plans to build 40 new hospitals. On top of a spending review for government departments, she's also cut the winter fuel payments for nearly 10 million pensioners. She told Parliament she is dealing with a massive shortfall in funds the Labour government inherited. And the former BBC News presenter Hugh Edwards has been charged with 3 counts of making indecent images of children. In a statement, the Metropolitan Police said the offences, which are alleged to have taken place between December 2020 and April 2022, relate to images shared on a WhatsApp chat. Mr. Edwards will appear in court on Wednesday. Let's begin, though, with the tensions mounting on the Israel-Lebanon border. There is now real concern that things could be heading towards all-out war as both sides, Hezbollah and the Israelis, ramp up the rhetoric. Last night, after a meeting of the Security Cabinet, Benjamin Netanyahu warned there would be a severe response to that weekend attack on the northern Druze village of Majd al-Shams that killed 12 children. It's one of 4 towns in the Golan Heights that is home to around 25,000 members of the Arabic-speaking Druze community. Our thanks to Fraser for that. We'll come back to that financial statement in a second, but I do just want to read you a response and a statement that has come from King Charles in relation to that stabbing today in Southport that we just reported on. His Majesty says, "My wife and I have been profoundly shocked to hear of the utterly horrific incident in Southport today. We send our most heartfelt condolences, prayers and deepest sympathies to the families and loved ones of those who have so tragically lost their lives and to all those affected by this truly appalling attack." So that statement coming from the palace in just the last few minutes. OK, Nick, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your time. We've got our panel coming up at 9 o'clock. We will dig a little deeper into what we have heard from Rachel Reeves today. We're going to take a very short break. The other side of the break, we're going to talk Olympics. We'll check in with Mariam, who is in Paris for us this evening. Quite a good day today for the Great British team. 2 golds. We're finally moving up the table, Great Britain. We're ahead of Kazakhstan, which was my sort of benchmark. We're going up. Anyway, we'll talk about that after the break. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching The Context on BBC News. The UK Chancellor Rachel Reeves has announced major spending cuts today, including on winter fuel payments for some pensioners, claiming the former Conservative government left a £22 billion black hole in the budget. We're going to concentrate on today's action at the Olympic Games. Let's go to the BBC Sports Centre. Here's Hugh Ferris.
Christian, hello to you. Japan have won the men's team gymnastics gold at the Olympics for a record-extending 8th time, taking the title after a dramatic late collapse by China. Much more on our website, of course, but that's it for now. Back to you.
Thank you, Hugh. It's amazing what you get into, isn't it, during the Olympics? I've been watching the eventing all day, and any horse I've sat on will tell you I'm not very good with horses. Let's go from Salford, pass the torch to Paris with much more on day 3 of the Games. Here's Mariam Mashiri. Hello, Mariam.
I thought you were about to say talking about horses over to Mariam.
That would not have been a good link.
I don't know, Christian. I don't know these days. I don't know what to expect from the context, let's be honest. Now, let's bring you a little bit of what's not quite sport, but is very Olympic themed. Let's take you straight away to the beautiful Paris Olympic cauldron. Well, Christian, it's been a very immense day for sport today. Tomorrow we have another 13 gold medals up for grabs. So all to play for, lots of brilliant sport, lots of those highs and lows that you always get with the Olympics, that really spine-tingling moments to come, I'm sure. Back to you.
Any horses?
Only here in front of you. I'm not even going to do
you're
the
more
horse
glamorous
noise,
than that. You're more glamorous than that.
I'm going to trot away now.
Stop it. Around the world and across the UK, you're watching BBC News. Welcome back. In what appears to have been a deeply unfair election, riddled with irregularities, Venezuelan authoritarian President Nicolas Maduro appears to have survived again. The result is being challenged. At least 9 Latin American countries have requested an emergency meeting of the Organisation of American States. The opposition says the count was fraudulent, with more upheaval predicted. Ms. Piccin, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Plenty more on the BBC website on the case in Sudan. We'll be right back with our panel. That's coming up just around the corner. Do stay with us. Hello, I'm Christian Fraser, and this is The Context.
Hezbollah, backed by Iran, fired here an Iranian missile that took the lives of 12 pure souls, 12 children that were playing soccer here, and unfortunately couldn't make it to the bomb shelter. Our heart is torn by the heavy disaster.
He is an unwelcome person in our place. He is a liar and corrupt. He is coming to use the bodies of our children to be on TV. We will not allow this to happen.
If they go against Lebanon, it's going to be a big war, and they know that. And I don't think they want to do it.
I'm appealing to all Germans who are still in Lebanon now to use the still available possibilities to leave Lebanon, and to urgently do so now.
Joining me tonight on the panel, Seema Mehta, political writer at the LA Times, and Peter Walker, political correspondent at The Guardian. We will get to our panel very shortly. Let me first bring you the latest BBC headlines. 2 children have died and 9 others were injured in a knife attack at a dance workshop in Southport today. A 17-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of murder. King Charles has in the last hour sent his most heartfelt condolences to the families of those caught up in the attack. Britain's new Finance Minister, Rachel Reeves, has announced spending cuts on road and hospital building projects, as well as winter fuel payments. She told Parliament this afternoon it was because of a massive shortfall in funds that her Labour government had inherited. The former BBC News presenter Hugh Edwards has been charged with 3 counts of making indecent images of children. In a statement, the Metropolitan Police said the offences, which are alleged to have taken place between December 2020 and April 2022, relate to images shared on a WhatsApp chat. Mr. Edwards will appear in court on Wednesday. A very warm welcome to the programme. The Israeli Prime Minister says there must be a severe response to the weekend attack on the northern Druze village of Masd al-Shams that killed 12 children. The Associated Press reported this afternoon that in response, Hezbollah has begun moving precision-guided missiles into position in southern Lebanon. An official with the Iran-backed group stressed they did not want a war with Israel, but if it came to it, they will fight without limits. The Americans, with the French, are applying diplomatic pressure. The White House is afraid that any expansion of the war could affect the course of the presidential election, and what happens on the Lebanese border would undoubtedly influence the hostage negotiations with Hamas in the Gaza Strip. It's going well for, at the moment, 99 days. It's an age, it's an eternity in American politics, 99 days. Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News. During the election campaign here in the UK, the Labour Party were extremely disciplined, especially when it came to messaging on the economy. But governing is different to campaigning, and today Rachel Reeves was laying the ground for some extremely difficult decisions she says she will be forced to make because she's been left with a £22 billion black hole by the previous government. The Chancellor has set out a number of cuts she will be making to balance the books. Just before we go to the break, I just do want to bring you some reaction from the Prince and Princess of Wales to that appalling incident in Southport earlier today at the dance hall where so many children were stabbed. The Prince and Princess say, as parents, we cannot begin to imagine what the families, friends and loved ones of those killed and injured in Southport today are going through. We send our love, thoughts and prayers to all those involved in this horrid and heinous attack. Thank you also to the emergency responders who, despite being met with the most horrific scenes, demonstrated compassion and professionalism when your community needed you most. A 17-year-old man has been arrested under the suspicion of murder. Just a short time ago, we did get a statement from King Charles as well, and the Queen, who expressed their heartfelt condolences to the parents involved. We will take a short break. The other side of that break, we'll get some reaction to the situation in Venezuela. Do stay with us. Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching The Context on BBC News. President Biden has unveiled a proposal for sweeping reform of the US Supreme Court with plans to establish term limits and form an ethics code. I'm going to take you straight to some pictures from Caracas. We're looking at pictures of the riot police who've just taken to the streets in the capital. We've been watching for the last hour, actually, more and more people coming out onto the streets of Caracas. We've seen tyres being burnt on the bridges. We've seen a motorcycle rally going through the city centre. You can see there some of the protesters out on that bridgehead there throwing stones at the riot police, and we were warned earlier in the programme that there would be more unrest over the election results over the weekend. Nicolas Maduro declaring himself the winner of the presidential election. The government-controlled electoral authority claimed Maduro won 51% of the vote, compared with 44% for his rival, the former diplomat Edmundo González Urrutia, but it's been met with some scepticism in Washington. Yeah, OK. Well, we'll continue to watch Joe Biden. He is due to appear at that podium that we're watching, and we're also continuing to keep our eyes on what is happening in Caracas as well. Around the world and across the UK, you're watching BBC News. Welcome back. It has been a golden day for Team GB at the Olympics. You'll have to indulge us here, Seema, because the team have won 2 gold medals today. Ross Cantor, Tom McEwen and Laura Collett crowned team eventing champions at the Chateau de Versailles. The eventing team went in today's show jumping final with a slender lead over second place nation France. McEwen jumping clear this afternoon on his horse JL Dublin. Brilliant team effort over several days from them. As I was saying, I watched quite a bit of it over the last few days. And in mountain biking, what an extraordinary ride by Tom Pidcock this afternoon, who defended his Olympic title despite a puncture which at one point relegated him to 8th place, nearly 40 seconds behind the French leader. Truly astonishing recovery from him to take gold. I really enjoyed that this afternoon, and I don't watch a lot of mountain biking, Peter. What's been your favourite Olympic moment so far? We're only on day 3. Is there something you could pick out? I love Jenny the Guide Dog. I'm going to follow Jenny the Guide Dog when I get out of here tonight. That's superb. Listen, Peter Seema, it's been lovely to have your company this evening. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme. Before we go, I'm just going to leave you with some live pictures that we're getting from Caracas, because as we've been going through the last few hours, it's been getting more serious in the Venezuelan capital. We've been telling you through the programme that there's a lot of unrest in the country after this weekend's election results. Nicolas Maduro claiming victory in the election, but none of the voting tallies given to the opposition, and the polling ahead of this election suggested that it was the opposition that had the support of the country. But what we've seen in the last hour or so is the riot police coming out onto the streets to try and contain this violence that has been erupting, not just in the city centre. We've seen tyres being burnt on bridges, people walking into the city from outside Caracas this afternoon, and now we're seeing tear gas being fired. We've seen riot police with shields and people throwing rocks in the direction of those police. There's a feeling, I think, that the Maduro regime is trying to get on top of this before it gets out of hand, but all the signs are that the Venezuelans have had enough of Nicolas Maduro, and they mean to show it over the course of the afternoon. So we'll continue to watch those pictures. You're watching BBC News. Do stay with us, more to come.
Hello from the BBC Sports Centre, I'm Hugh Ferris. A day of British success in Paris with the first golds of these Olympic Games. 2 of them, in fact, and few will be won in such dramatic fashion as Tom Pidcock's in the cross-country mountain biking. He started the race as favourite to retain the gold that he won in Tokyo. Much more at our website, including all of the medal winners, reaction from them, and also some of the disappointments from Team GB today. Head there for that, but that's all we sport for now. Bye-bye.
Hello there. It's been quite a pleasant day for Scotland and Northern Ireland. Many places